So this is probably going to have to be a multi-part video because there's so much to unpack here. I'm doing a ton of digging, but it's taking me so long that I wanted to share my thoughts with you so far. In this video, I just want to reference the overall allegations and what I've seen from the behavior Cry's displaying now. I am also concerned about mental health being used as an excuse for his behavior, as well as the victim blaming that I've been seeing from some. Mental health cannot and should not be used to soften the blow of the world finding out what kind of relationships you have with teenagers. Millions of people deal with things like severe depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, and never harm children. Do not normalize this kind of behavior being linked to a mental health issue. This is a decision Cry made for himself as an adult. A decision he made repeatedly with different teenagers over several years. And for the record, you don't need to meet in person to cause someone permanent emotional trauma and scarring. Also, just a quick comment on the minimization of his friends' knowledge of his behavior. Friends don't let friends have weird relationships with minors regardless of severity, but that's just my opinion. So let's get into the mess of a stream. You know, the birthday stream. I'm not going to be including clips from the stream because it was an hour long in its edited form. However, I watched and took notes on the entire thing. The stream came out when the allegations were beginning to hit the fan. And honestly, listening to it made me feel sick. The level of emotional manipulation he is using in this video is horrendous and would be extremely effective on a young fan who is just worried about how he is doing. He is preemptively distracting you from the real issues that are coming out. He's setting up a backstory of this humble, sad, selfless guy who just wants everyone else to be happy. A 31-year-old man does not need to be airing out his emotional struggles with his teen audience. He hides a lot of emotional manipulation behind supposed caring and wisdom. But let's get back to his overall persona. What you see online is usually what people want you to see. They've developed a persona. They know the camera's rolling. If they've been doing it long enough, they can probably get into character without even thinking about it. You can't assume the persona is the real person. In fact, people who are good at portraying the right image get away with horrible things for so much longer because no one can possibly believe they'd do something like that. It's easy to spot a jerk when they act like a jerk all the time, right? Unfortunately, the world doesn't always work out that way. Charm is very, very effective, to the point that even when something concerning happens, you question yourself and you wonder if your perception is what's wrong. Adults are supposed to protect children and maintain those boundaries. But what happens when adults take advantage of their power? If you are young and look up to someone, don't keep things secret. Don't keep your conversations with that person secret. Secrecy is something they use to give themselves more power. Secrecy can make you feel special, but it can also prevent your friends and family from noticing if something is wrong. If you ever feel uncomfortable, trust that feeling and don't be afraid to ask someone about it. If you tell someone you feel uncomfortable, but they still try to pressure you, even if just gradually, that person is not a good person. Run away. A person who truly cares about you, respects what you need in your life, and doesn't pressure you to conform to theirs. If an adult tells you you're so mature for your age and you're not like other teenagers, run away. They're manipulating you. They're preparing you to be open to other adult things. If an adult tells you you're the only person they can talk to like this, run away. It can make you feel amazingly special at the time, but it's only once you're older that you realize so much changes just between your early teens and early 20s. You are not a trained therapist as a teenager, nor should you be. You cannot save them. Do not put that pressure on yourself. Don't ever let adults put that kind of pressure on you. As adults, we are fully capable of finding our own therapist, a real one. Any adult who uses a teenager like a therapist is being extremely manipulative. They want you to feel bad for them. It creates an unhealthy bond that is hard to break. It makes you more willing to excuse their bad behavior. Don't believe for a second that someone who talks about their flaws or is self-deprecating is automatically a good guy. Do not try to heal them. It is not your job, and you are not prepared. Even therapists with years of training aren't always prepared. But don't blame yourself for caring either. As a teenager, you don't know how everything works yet, but we as adults do know better. Don't let us trick you into believing we're just sensitive and naive. I've seen a lot of victim blaming online or questions of, why are you coming out now? And I want to talk about that too. I think a lot of people don't understand how complicated that experience can be. A lot of times the person that wrongs you is someone you cared about. It makes things feel messy and not clear-cut. It takes some time to sort out what happened and reconcile the horrendous behavior with the good image you originally had. It can also be extremely scary to tell your story, even more so if the story is about someone well-loved. It brings up so many fears and questions. How will people react? Will they believe me? Will they hate me? Will they blame me? Was this my fault? Being wronged can also make you feel dirty, which is a feeling of shame. Things that make you feel shameful are typically things you hide and not things you confess to the world. That feeling makes it that much harder to share your story. It also means people will pick things apart and try to figure out who was right in their eyes. It's also extremely hard for people to accept that someone they loved so much could do something so horrible. So sometimes they just never accept it. It takes so much strength and courage to go against those fears and feelings of shame and speak up. And if it takes a long time to feel ready, that's okay. To victims of any type of manipulative behavior, it is never your fault. You have amazing qualities, and someone who is skilled at manipulation took advantage of your good nature. It is not your fault that an adult can't manage to control himself. It is not your fault that an adult used his fame, age, and power to manipulate the situation. It is not your fault that an adult has already practiced manipulating others, so he knows what stories and lines work best. Teenager or not, you were a child, and you needed people around you who would protect your childhood, not destroy it. Don't keep serious things secret. Let in someone you can trust so they can help point out warning signs if they are there. Secrecy is the greatest source of power. I don't know for certain what laws Cry has broken, but I do know that as adults, it is our job to prevent people like that from hurting others. Speaking up saves lives, and I'm so incredibly proud of those who have. If you're not ready yet, don't beat yourself up. You'll know when you are, but please find somebody that you can talk to. This is just scratching the surface of the whole Cry situation, and I'm quite sure he is not the only adult who has taken advantage of being admired. I'm going to continue looking into things further, and I will put out another video soon, so subscribe to my channel to stay in the loop. And if there's anything you would like to see me cover, or if you have any questions or thoughts, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.